Okay. Let me give a coding question. Let A equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. I want the output to be 16, comma 25. Okay. Now I'll tell the solution as well. So what we need to do, you need to take this array, you need to loop through the each element of the array, and if the any element is greater than 3, you need to return that elements, and then you need to multiply this those which are greater than 3, and that output will be like 16, comma 25. Which are greater than 3, 4 comma 5 are greater than 3, right? So 4 fours are 16 and 5 fives are 25. You need to just square the numbers and return the output. Can someone tell me how to proceed?
I think we use for each loop, family.
For each?
Filter, I believe, Anusha.
We have to use filter 4 comma 5. I mean,
Okay, filter and then?
Condition can be greater than 3
Okay.
for, for each element, and then we can like element into element can be the output like console log if we
Okay.
want to break.
Okay. Let us just try. Okay. Let result equal to A dot. Dinesh, the return type of for each is undefined. Okay. So you cannot return anything from for each. If you want to return anything, you need to use only map or filter.
Okay, Anish.
Now, which operator we'll be using here?
Filter.
filter.
Filter. Okay. And then what does this filter take?
Elements.
Okay. It takes a callback function. Am I correct? Yeah. Then what will be the condition here?
If it is greater than 3, if element is greater
If
than
element greater than 3.
Element is greater than 3, then what we should do?
we should multiply the
We
same
should
like
return.
into element, return element into element.
Okay. Return element into element. And if I do console.log of res, just the result. Okay. What answer you are seeing?
4 and 5.
Yeah. But what is expected?
16, 25.
That means that even whatever you give here, it doesn't matter. If that condition is satisfied, that particular element will be returned by the filter. Understood?
Yes, Anusha.
Okay. Now, now if you check, the output is 4 comma 5. Now, if we want to make it double, now which do we need to pipe it again or loop it again, or how can we do it?
We can loop it again through map. Is it
Okay.
possible?
Yes, it's possible. What you can do, so you can directly use the map here, okay? You can just use map. So after filtering whatever values were there, that will be applied to the map function, okay? Or after filtering whatever is there, that will be applied to the map. And what we will take the element, and what we will do?
Then we can give the condition.
Will you give a condition or will you return directly
No,
multiple?
no, we can return.
Yeah. Return what?
Element into element.
Element into element.
Yeah. We can just do elements star element. Okay. Are you able to see the output?
Yes, Anusha.
So whatever was filtered here, that array will be again passed to map. It will take 4 comma 5 and it will just double it and it will return the final output to the rest, and you can just do console dot. This is known as chaining. Okay. After applying one filter, that result you will get to another filter. So basically you can apply many functions as ever you want in one single line. Okay. That is known as chaining. Any doubt?
No.
Oh,
No,
very
Anuj.
okay. Hmm. Okay. Let me talk about two other functions which are sum and every. Okay. Suppose if we have one array, in that array we have the ages of a person. For example, 16, 85, 20, 25, and 30. Okay. And what is the use of every function? I'll just write the code and I'll just show you. So what is the meaning of every is that every is also a function like looping operator, okay, like map, filter, and for each, and it also takes a callback function, okay. If a condition is satisfied by all the elements in the array, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. For example, here we are checking if the element value is greater than 18, then return element, which means that if all the elements in the loop satisfies this condition, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Okay, right now the answer is false. Why?
Because it's not satisfying to every element.
Okay, what is the element which is not satisfying this condition?
16, 18.
16 and 18. Okay, very good. Similarly, suppose if I remove these two elements, okay, and let me just run it. You can see it will return true. That is the usage of every function, okay. And let me talk about sum. So sum is the opposite of every. Okay. If at least one of the elements satisfies the condition, then it returns true. If none of the elements satisfies the condition, then it gives false. Okay. If at least one element in the array satisfies this condition, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. Now, what is the output?
False.
False. Because no element has satisfied the condition. Am I correct? Am I correct?
Yes.
Now, what will be the answer for this sum?
True.
True. Because at least one element is satisfying the condition. That's why it will return true. Any doubts, anyone till now?
No.
No, Anuj.
Okay. Let me ask the previous coding question only. Okay. And I have one string which is 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I just want the output to be the reverse of this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How can we do it?
Reverse function.
So will you apply reverse function directly on the string?
No, we have to convert that.
Convert. Sorry, we have to convert it to an array. How to convert the string to an array?
Using split function.
Split.
Split function. Okay. First, you will use the split function. Splitting on what basis?
Empty.
Only empty string.
Then what you will do? Then splitting, you got the array. Then what you will do?
Reverse.
Okay, you will apply the reverse function. Okay. Then what you will do?
Then join.
Yeah, very good. Then you need to join on what basis?
Empty again.
Empty.
Very good. Now you people are able to think about the logic, right? How to do and all, or not just by hearting, right? You people are able to understand how to do, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I have already talked about set timeout and set interval. Do you people remember set interval and set timeout? Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Let me talk about it once more. Now what will happen? Tell me.
I will print
Until 1,000 times.
I will print 1,000 times once.
1 second. One.
After
No,
1
Manusha.
second.
I will
After
1 second.
Seconds.
Yeah. I will be
Seconds.
printed after 1 second. Okay. Now, this is called asynchronous coding. Asynchronous, which means that what I said, JavaScript waits for none and it will execute the piece of code line by line. Okay. So, which means that this line should execute first, this line should execute first, this line should execute first. Am I correct? So, what we are doing, we are making this function to wait for 1 second and then execute this function, which means that this piece of code is not executing line by line. Okay, if any piece of code is not executing line by line, it is called as asynchronous code. Understood, or shall I repeat it? Understood?
Sir, can you repeat once?
Yeah. So by this, you understood that after 1 second, this function will execute. In this function, again, this console log will be printed. Am I correct? If this function is executed, then only this console log will printed. Am I correct? What I said, JavaScript is a synchronous single-threaded language, which means that it will execute the code line by line. Okay, and it does not wait for anything. But here, okay, we are making it to wait for 1 second and then this line is getting printed. Am I correct? So this way of printing the code or executing the code asynchronously is called asynchronous coding. So this is known as asynchronous, which is not synchronous. Synchronous means line by line. Asynchronous means which is not executing line by line is called asynchronous code. Understood, or shall I repeat it once more?
Yeah, it's understood.
So it is not following the execution concept which we discussed earlier.
It will follow the execution context concept, but in a different manner. Okay.
Okay.
I will tell you. So what happens? I thought of telling with the event loop concept, then you will understand better.
Yeah, sure, Anusha, whenever you like to
Yeah.
discuss it.
but I will just show you. Okay. So whenever this piece of code is executed, what this JavaScript will do, you remember we have this call stack, right? And whenever any execution context is created, what happens?
Memory and
Memory,
execution.
memory phase and code of
Code of
execution.
execution phase. Okay. So what happens? An execution context is created here and it will be pushed. Okay. So in the outer execution context, what we have? We have set timeout. Whenever it encountered this set timeout, what this do? It will do. Okay. This function will be attached with a timer of 1000 seconds, which means that somewhere in the Chrome browser, this function will be there. Okay. And for this function, a 1 second timer is attached. Okay. And after that, what happens? After this 1000 seconds has been expired, then this function execution context will be created and it will be pushed to the call stack after 1000 seconds. Understood?
Yes, Anusha.
Till
Yes.
then, it is not pushed to the call stack. Then when this function has completed, then it will be popped out of this call stack and the execution context will be destroyed. Suppose if I say after 5 seconds, okay, what happens? This function is assigned with a timer of 5 seconds. And then after 5 seconds, and global execution context is created and it will be pushed to the call stack. And once it has done execution, it will be destroyed and this will be destroyed. Okay, that is how it will execute. I will show quickly in the Visual Studio Code. Give me 1 minute. I will stop sharing because I haven't opened the code base. Okay, give me 1 minute. Yeah, let me share my screen. And I'm giving a timer of 5 seconds, okay? So that you will understand better what I will do. Okay, let me rerun it. Right now, what you are seeing, anonymous, right? Which is the first execution context. Am I correct? Are you able to see? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now you can see So you can see the set timeout async. And after 5 seconds, this function is getting pushed to this call stack. Okay. And visually also you can say it. Let me just reload this page. Okay, let me just now reload it. It will not work like that. I need to keep the debugger, I guess. Or what will happen? We will just give a function name so that you will understand better. We'll just create one function, ABC, okay, and we will make it execute, okay. Now, let me reload it, okay. Now you can see anonymous is already there, am I correct? And now you can see it will start giving the set timeout. Okay, you can see set timeout. And after 5 seconds, this ABC got pushed into this call stack. And now this console log will be printed. Are you able to see? Once it reaches this next line, right? This ABC will be no longer present. And the entire thing has been finished executing. Are you able to understand? Hello. Are you people there?
Yes, Anusha.
Yes,
You are
Anushka.
Can
able
you-
to understand, or shall I show it once more? Shall I show?
Show it once again.
Dinesh, you want to see again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you see. Right now, what is there in the call stack?
Anonymous.
Anonymous, which means that outer execution context. Okay. Now I will execute the code line by line. You see, anonymous is there. Okay. After 5 seconds, you see ABC got pushed into the call stack.
Okay.
Okay, you can see here line number 198 and this is line number 199. Okay, after 5 seconds, ABC got pushed into the call stack and it will be popped up once execution is done. So what I mean to say is that this is asynchronous. That's why after 5 seconds, it got pushed to the call stack and it got executed. That is the meaning. Any doubt?
No.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Now, if I do set interval, okay, I will show this also visually. Okay, we will give it every 5 seconds, okay? And let me just rerun this. Now you can see anonymous is there. Let me give 2 seconds. Okay, and let me just refresh. Okay, now you can see already anonymous is there. Now you can see ABC, right? After 2 seconds. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, when it is done executing, ABC will be no longer there, but again, for every 2 seconds, ABC will be keep on adding to this execution context. Are you understanding? Until we
Yes,
clear
ma'am.
the set interval, ABC will be keep on pushing to this call stack. You can see it printed 8 times. Okay, this is known as asynchronous code. Okay, so not executing line by line, instead waiting for some time and then executing is known as asynchronous. Okay, and for in the asynchronous world, there are many things like promises, and in case of Angular, there will be observables and all. Let me tell you about a promise. A promise, if you want to create, you will create with new promise like this. Okay, and it will take 2 parameters, which are resolve and reject. Suppose, imagine if you are making an API call. If it is successful, then it will call the resolve block. If it is giving any error, that API call, then it will go to the reject block. That is the meaning of resolve and reject. Okay. And if you want to invoke a promise, promise means that it's definitely promised you to give you something, either the successful response, either the failure response. Okay. It will promise us to give us something. That is the meaning of a promise. And this promise will be invoked. That means that the promise code will start executing whenever we invoke the promise by using dot then. Whenever we invoke a promise, then it will start executing. Okay. For that invocation, we use then method. Okay. For function invocation, what you will do? You will just give the function name and then you will give the braces. Am I correct? Am I
Yes,
correct?
Yes,
Yes, yes.
If you want to invoke a promise, you will use then function to invoke it. Okay. Now let us create one promise. So we have one variable, it's called my promise. Okay, the variable name. If we want to create any promise, we will create it with the new keyword and the promise. Okay, and it will simply take one callback function. Okay, and in this callback function, we have two parameters. One is resolve. Okay, and one is reject. Suppose if someone asks you to implement a simple promise, this is how you need to do it. Okay, and it will take resolve and reject. Whatever piece of code you want to write for resolve, you can do it. Okay, for example, if x equal to 1, okay, let us just assign one variable. Okay, if x equal to 0, then resolve this promise, stating that the promise is resolved because x value is 0. Okay. If you want to reject the promise, you can just use reject. Okay. You can just use like reject of this promise is rejected because x value is not 0. Okay. And what I said, if we want this piece of code to execute, we need to invoke the promise. Okay. And how will we invoke a promise? We will invoke a promise by using dot then method. Okay. What you will do, you will just use my promise here. Okay. And then you will use dot then function. This dot then function will take two callbacks. Okay. One is the successful callback and one is the failure callback. In case of successful callback, you will give just response and then you can use, console.log of response. This will be in case of success, which means that whenever it is resolved, right, this block will get executed. Suppose if it is rejected, which means that we will separate it with comma and we will take one more callback. In that, you can take the rejected error messages using this error block. Okay. And you can just give console.log of error, and this will happen in case of rejected. Okay. Now let me just execute the code and show you. Are you able to see? This promise is rejected because its value is not 0 and the rejected, which means that we have returned some logic. Based on the logic, we are either resolving the promise or rejecting the promise. Okay. And to invoke this promise, you use dot then function. Suppose if x equal to 0, now what will be printed?
Resolve.
The promise value is 0.
Which means that in these two callbacks, which callback is called?
Success.
Success is
To this response one. Am I correct?
Yes.
Any doubts, anyone? If you want to create a promise, you will create it with a new keyword. Okay. Any promise will have two things, which is resolve and reject. Suppose if you want to send any successful response, you will give resolve. If you want to send any failure response, you will do it with reject. And this is just a simple example I have given of a promise. Okay. And if you want to invoke a promise, you will just do dot then and you will invoke it. In this first callback refers to successful response, which is the result. And in case of the error, it will refer to error response. Any doubts, anyone?
No, Anusha.
Shall I repeat it? If anybody wants to repeat.
No, Anusha.
Okay. Okay. And we have one fetch one. Okay. Fetch function in the JavaScript, which is used for making the API calls. Okay. Making API calls. Okay. And using this API calls, we will get some response, right? Am I correct? And this return type of fetch is response. Again, this should be invoked with promise. Okay. A dot then function. Sorry. So there are some websites which give us free backend URLs. Okay. Free API URLs for calling API in JS. Okay. And if you go to this website, you will get a lot of API URLs. Okay. For example, let us take this. Okay. Let us take this URL. If you just click on it, sorry. You are saying it is the response given from an API. Okay, this much of data is written. Suppose, let us take an example of YouTube. Okay, and let me show you the network tab. Are you able to see the network tab?
Yes, Anusha.
Suppose what I will do just Anusha videos. Okay, and now what I will do, I will hit one search button. Okay, it will make an API call and it will return some response to us. And that response is what you will be able to see in the dashboard. Okay, let me just click it. You see, you are able to see, right? Search and the key. So whenever these particular platforms were in the public sites, right? What will happen? They will be masked and we will not be able to understand what they are actually doing. You can see some response here, right? Am I correct? Are you able to see or
Yeah.
Yes,
so?
Anusha.
Yes, yes,
So
sir.
I made this particular API call and it returned me this response. And this is the response which you are able to see here. Okay. They will just do some HTML massaging with this JS. That's why these cards are visible for you. Okay. And you see, even when the page is scrolled, they will make some API calls. Okay, loading of the data by scrolling is known as lazy loading, which means that these will not be entirely loaded. Whenever only you are requesting the scroll to scroll, then API calls were made and then we are fetching some data. In this, how we are reducing the browser side, because at a time we are not loading this entire stuff to the browser. Are you people able to get it, what I'm trying to tell you?
Yes, Anusha.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, if I do a simple search, you see, this is the response received from the search. And you see, estimated results were 2 lakh, 2 crore, 24 lakh 17,178 results were there. and these results will be shown chunk by chunks. Okay. You can see here Anusha song DJ, Arundhati. Okay. That's why you are able to see all these things. Okay, so that is the meaning of API call. So if you want to make any API call in JavaScript, what you will do, you will just use the fetch function. Okay, let me just show you fetch, and you can give direct URL here. Okay, in the quotations, and if you just hover on it, and you can see what is the return type of fetch.
String type, Anusha.
Does it showing you string? What is the return type of fetch? So when is the fetch function ending? When this braces is finished, which means that fetch function is finished. Am I correct? Am I correct or not?
Yes, Anush.
This fetch function is finished when as soon as we encounter this close brace. Okay. And we are giving semicolon, which means that if we want to define a return type, we will just give a semicolon and we will specify the return type of this function. Okay. Now, what is the return type of this fetch?
Brace.
What? What is there after semicolon?
Promise.
Which means that the return type is a promise. That's it.
Promise.
If you want, so if I just simply execute this code, does it run? No. If you want to invoke a promise, what we should do?
Dot then.
Dot n.
Very good. We need to use dot then, and we will get successful response here in case of the first block. Okay. Now you will wonder. You will not be able to see the API data only. Okay. Let me just show you. It will show you response. So whenever I hit the URL, it is showing some 1,000 lines of code. But here, when I ran it, it is showing some other different response. Am I correct? So in the
Yes,
JavaScript,
Anush.
if you want to pass any data to the API, that is passed in the format of JSON. Okay. And if you want to access any data from the API, that data you need to convert it to a JSON, and then you will be able to access it. JSON means JavaScript object notation. It is the format which is followed by the JavaScript. In that particular format, we need to send the data and we need to receive the data. Okay. And if you see in the network call, see here we have done one API call. So this is the URL I requested for the data. Okay. You can see fetch URL, whatever I have given here will be shown here, which means that from this URL, I am requesting the data. Okay. Request method get, meaning is that these will be of 3 to 4 types, which is get, another one is post, okay, another one is delete. Get means you are getting some information from the APIs. Okay. Post means suppose you are there is a form, you are filling the form and you will click the submit button, which means that you are sending your information to the server. So in that case, the request method will be post. Okay. Request method will be delete. When it will delete is that,
Anusha,
yeah, Dinesh.
your voice is breaking.
Now, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, Anush.
Okay. So the request methods will be of 3 to 4 types. Okay. Get means, which means that you are requesting some information from particular API. Okay. Directly you will get some value as soon as you hit this API. You can see you are getting some response here. Okay. Request method post means, for example, you are signing up to Amazon or Facebook. What you will do at starting? You will just give some basic details, right? Suppose my name is Dinesh, my age is this, my date of birth is this, my last name is this, my email ID is this, my password is this, and the confirm password, some information you will do, and you will just click this button. Am I correct or not?
Yes.
Yes. So in
Yes.
this range, you are giving some information for your API to save this information in the DB. Okay. Next time when you try to sign up, right, it will tell you the account already exists, which means that you are making a post call, which means that all the information provided by you will be saved by the backend URL in the database. And whenever you are trying to make another API call, which is again a post, it will tell that this information already exists. What I try to say here is that whenever you are sending some information to save or something, that refers to a post call. Okay. Suppose you have a table, or you want to delete your Facebook account. Okay. And your information will be already existing, still it will ask your username and password to delete your account. So you are giving your some information and you are deleting in some account, which means that you are deleting basically the entry from the DB and your account is deleted. Okay. In such kind of scenarios, the request method you will see here as delete. Any doubts, anyone?
No, Anusha.
No, Anusha.
And you are able to see the status code 200, right? Green means it is a successful response, and 200 means it's a successful response. Okay. We will get, if an API call is failed, for example, we will get this green color as red color, and we will get a different error codes like 500, 404, something like that. Suppose if you don't have a Facebook account and you are trying to log in, okay, and it will say 404 error not found, which means that it's not found in that particular repository. Okay. In that sense, the status code will be red color and the code will be 404, like that. Any doubts? Suppose what we will do, we will just remove one S from here so that it will not match our URL. Okay. And let me just reload it. And you are seeing this, right? This URL is not there. That's why it gave us 404 error. And you can see, you are able to understand, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have given incorrect URL. This URL is not present in this Google repository. Okay. That's why if any URL you want to access, that should be provided in the Google. That means it should be hosted in some particular environments. Then only you will be able to access them. Since this URL is not there, so it is telling you it is not found, and the code for not found is 404. Any doubts, anyone? No,
No,
right?
Anusha.
No, Anusha.
And here, if you want to see your data, whatever you get, you need to convert it to a JSON format. Okay. So what you will do, whatever data you got, you will just convert it to a JSON method. Okay. Now tell me, what is the return type of JSON? What is the return type of JSON method? I just hovered you and I'm showing you. What I said, whatever is there after colon is called data type.
Your voice is breaking.
Now able to hear me properly? Is it fine now?
Some disturbance is there, Ansana.
Okay. Still, my voice.
Yes, it's better.
Yeah. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
Anush.
sir.
Yes, Anush.
Now tell me, what is the return type of this JSON method?
Promise.
Promise.
Promise, very good. After colon, whatever is there, that is known as return type. Okay. Since it's a return type is promise, how to invoke it? We need to invoke it, right? Otherwise, are we going to get the response? No, right? How to invoke a promise?
No.
Dot
Dot.
then.
Dot then. What you will do? You will do dot then again. Okay. And in this, you will get some data. And what you will do? You will just do console.log of data. Okay. And let me just save it. And okay, I have given the URL wrong, right? Interest. Are you able to see the successful response?
Yes, Anush.
This is the data which is coming from backend. Okay. And these are the free URLs posted. Okay. You can just go to this website. I'll just ping you in the chat. Okay. And you can try to make one API call by your own. Any
Sure,
doubt?
Anusha. No.
Okay. Okay. And let me do one more thing. Let me create one function. Okay. Function ABC. Okay. And in this function, what I will do, I will create one variable. Okay. And that variable value, I want to get fit from API response. Okay. Which means that whatever data is received from this API, I want to save it to my result. Okay, rest variable. And what I will do, I just want to print that result. Okay. And how to invoke this function? How to invoke a function?
Function name and braces in this
ABC and
case.
prices.
ABC and braces. Now what I'm trying to tell you, I have one function ABC and I created one variable called res and I assigned this fetch function. What this fetch function should do, it should resolve, it should get the response from this API. That data, successful data has been converted to JSON. Then after converting to the JSON, again I should get that successful response. And this data, I need to pass it to res. Am I correct? Whether return data and just giving directly data, both are same. Am I correct? Yes or no?
Yes, Anusha.
So instead of giving like this, what I have done, I was just giving directly data. Now what I am expecting, what I am doing in the console.log result I am doing, I want the successful response to be printed. Okay. Now I will show you. Are you able to see the successful response? Hello. Able to hear me? Am I in?
Yes, Anusha.
No.
Yeah, but the fluctuating a lot, Shah, in between.
Okay. Now, what is the successful response meaning? You are able to see that count some API data. That is the successful response. But is this a successful response by name? No, right? Yes,
No,
sir.
Anusha.
The successful response is this thing. Count 25 entries. Okay. API, auth, category, decorators, description, HTTP docs. This is the successful response. Am I correct? Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
Anusha.
Anusha.
Are these successful response is getting assigned to your variable res? Are the successful response is getting assigned to this res? What is getting printed in the result? What is this? Just open your mouth and tell, what is this? What is the name?
Pending.
Promise you are seeing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Which means that even API has taken some time to get resolved. Okay. By that time, JavaScript didn't wait for that API call to finish. It directly assigned this promise. That's why you are printing the result. And after this printing the result, maybe after 20 seconds or 30 seconds, we got some response from the API. Understood?
Some background noise is there, Anusha. Your voice is not clear.
Okay, let me wait for 2 minutes. Now is it fine?
Yes, Anusha.
Yeah. So what happened? This function,
It's okay, Anusha.
it didn't wait for the function to get resolved and assign the variables API data to this result. Okay. It just assigned the promise, and after some time, maybe 30 seconds or 40 seconds, we receive the data from this API. Okay. In order to overcome this issue, we have two things called async and await in JavaScript. Okay. So this is an asynchronous operation. Am I correct? It is fetching data after some time. Am I correct? So it should happen. This rest variable has to wait until this fetch function has been resolved, then assign the value to the result and then print it, which means that it should include some asynchronous operation. Am I correct? Waiting means asynchronous.
Yes, ma'am.
So in order to make this function asynchronous, we will use the keyword async before the function. Okay. Okay. And we need to tell that we need to wait for this particular function to get resolved and then assign the value to this result. For that, you need to give the keyword called await. Okay. Now let me just save it and let me just show you. Now, are you able to see the successful response? Yes or no?
Yes, Anusha.
This is the usage of async and await keywords. Okay. And this is how we will be making API calls in the JavaScript using fetch function. And these are the promises. Any doubts, anyone till now? How to create a promise? How to create a promise? I told you, right? Using new keyword, new promise and all. How to create a promise?
By using the keyword promise, Anusha,
Okay,
like new promise.
yeah, equal to new promise. And what does this promise takes? What does this promise take? Sorry. It takes one callback.
Reject and
It takes some callback function, one callback function, which contains resolve and reject. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Suppose in case of successful response, which piece of code will get executed? Resolve code or rejected code?
Resolve.
In case if it is rejected,
Then
Reject.
How to invoke a promise?
By dot then.
Dot then.
How to make an API call in the JavaScript?
Using fetch,
What is the return type of fetch?
promise,
Promise.
How to invoke a fetch function?
By using
By using
by using dot then.
dot then. Does we get the direct response or do we need to convert to anything else? Are we getting the direct response or are we converting it to anything else? We are converting it to JSON, right? Yes or no? Able to hear me or not? My throat is paining.
not at all audible, Anusha. We can't.
Not audible. Still now?
Audible in between, Anusha, and we lose you after some time.
Okay. I'm so sorry
Yeah.
for that. Today, Wi-Fi was little bit slower and it got switching between my PG network and my mobile network automatically. Okay. Do we need to convert the response from an API to any other format or not? Okay, then TK, let me wind up the session. Fine, everyone?
Okay, Anusha. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Anusha, bye bye.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Anusha. Okay.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.